Sports Speakers Series hosted by the Sports Communication Program. Our featured speaker tonight is Mr. Alan Beamer, and he'll be sharing the joys and tragedies of a lifelong sports career. But first, I'd like to properly introduce him by getting to know him a little bit. He graduated from Wyoming Rogers High School in 1967, participated in baseball and football for all four of those years. After high school, he came and attended Ferris State University from 67 to 70, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in business administration. Later, he continued to finish his master's degree at Central in business administration. Mr. Beamer played football for Ferris State from 67 to 69. As a freshman quarterback, the team never won a single game, but then as a sophomore in 1968, they won the national championship under Coach Bob Leach. So we're kind of interested to see how those 2 years differed for you and how that transpired. After football in 1971, Mr. Beamer was hired by Big Rapids Public Schools as a business instructor, and he was employed there for 31 years. During those years, he coached freshman, JV, and varsity football, and he also coached a year of girls softball. Later in his career, he served as Big Rapids High School assistant principal from 2000 to 2003 and retired in 2003. So we're glad you can be here tonight to share your stories about sports with us, and I'll let you take it from here.
Thanks so much. Used to was, I could not use any kind of paper, and every time I spoke, it was just kind of fluid whatever that came out. But I found out with this little affliction right now that I have, I'm hoping that you're going to get something out of this, and that we can try to overcome this in the bypasses. You see some certain things on certain different people, especially friends. I would say right off the bat before we get going, with this particular thing, you will, if you are good friends or like best friends, you will have people that will start to look at you kind of like this. And that first started happening to me with her, because she knows me better than anybody else. And of course, as she would talk to me more and more, I would say, oh, give me a break. For heaven's sakes, you know, everybody gets old. Jeez, I mean, I can't remember everything. Well, she's going to talk about the doctors. The doctors and we've seen, I think, every doctor that could be, isn't it? All the bigwigs neurologically. And she's going to talk a little bit about that later on. But it is absolutely so frustrating, because my way of dealing with her a lot of times is not only frustration, but I'll just say, oh crap, you know, Judas brace, you know, get off my back. And you know, don't tell me that I just said that, you know, 2 times and then I said it again. And so anyway, I've got some fun things, I hope, too, mainly, of course, and I've got some things that I think, you know what, I know that some of these things are going to shock you beyond. Not about me. I was pretty much just pretty low-key and everything all the way through college. Now, it does take me a while to read. See, what I'd really like, she says, you want to bring your light? You know, who can think of this kind of crap, for heaven's sakes? I need a light. I sit down to read the paper because of my eyes jumping. You never know when they're going to jump. They just will jump. And so I try to follow lines in the paper. It's terrible to try and read just an article. So with magnification in a light, in a special light, I mean, who'd have thought? Holy macaroni. So anyway, it takes me a little bit to read things like so I can figure out where I'm going with you guys. Tragedies of life, yep. Oh, see, I'll just pick up a little thing and then I'll head into it. I didn't want to go to college. That's the last thing in the whole world that I wanted to do. There's no way. Yeah, I played football, and my dad, of course, forced me to play football, I think. I mean, I was playing football when I was 6 in Grand Rapids. And little 6-year-olds, I had a number, you know what they used to call they're the big kids, okay? I had a big kid, not what they call them. I had a big kid when I was 6 or 7 years old that I can remember that fell backwards in a football game and sat on my head, and my helmet was junk, of course, right? You're 6 and 7 years old, and split the helmet, and it just literally fell off. Now, that could have been a problem. As we know now, that could have been a problem. My grades in high school, you know what was weird about that? I really didn't care, because my grades, I just felt, you know, Mr. Cocky, that all I had to do is, I mean, somebody's going to pick me up, and I'm going to play professional football sooner or later. I guess you have to have that attitude, right? If you want to do that. Well, that's not exactly what I wanted to do. Not exactly. And so that was what my dad wanted me to do. And she smiles because she's known my dad and understands. But so then it comes to college. After all the football I'd played from all those years, all the way through high school and at Wyoming Rogers, and you know, you have colleges, even Ferris, you know, they don't give you a bunch of money or anything like that, but I, again, wanted to be around home. I still had my high school sweetheart. Yeesh. And with that, had 2 young kids, 2 little girls. And so, needless to say, I'm thinking to myself, you know, why do I want to keep playing football? You know, I mean, I can't, you know, as my kids grow up, right? I'm not going to drag them all over the whole United States and play professional football. Well, the first thing you'd have to do, of course, is have to be able to, somebody comes up to you and says, you want to play professional football? Well, as you'll find out, off and on through this, yeah, sure enough, they had to show up. And then they start this crap about new cars, and then they start this, you know, do you have any idea how much are you going to make when you start out teaching, Al? How much? I said, well, I can still see him laughing. I said, well, I figured right now with my degree, everything, I can make $4,700 for my first year. Well, they just about fell over backward. You know, they're offering you thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and all you have to do is just say, oh, okay. Well, I wanted to be a family man. Yeah. How stupid is that? I just went over that. I think so there are no scholarships. I mentioned that at Ferris. You know about my father. Mary Beth says, "Now, don't you be mean." She's so kind. I guess my leadership qualities that I didn't even realize I had, I guess, was started again in coaching football at Big Rapids High School. I would assume that's where a bunch of that came from. And again, it's so simple to teach. It's so simple. All you have to do is just care. I mean, all those years, 31 years, all I did was care for the kids. And you think they don't know that? I see people here going, yeah, yeah, shaking their heads, yeah, yeah. So my teaching career to me is really my everything. Well, that's my everything. But yeah, that's my teaching career. That to me was everything. All this stuff with sports. I put down here scholarships. We mentioned that situation. Oh, I put Wayne State University. This still touches my heart more than anything, I think. I think this is going to be your first big shock. Playing for Ferris football, during that time of upheaval, if you will, I don't know, because you guys are so young, I don't know how much of this, and so are you, sweetheart. You always have been, and you still are. I love you dearly. I look back, I don't think that you're going to know much about this, but I always, when I talk about Ferris, I have to mention the horror and turmoil that Ferris State University went through. And I would be remiss if I didn't say something again today about what I went through. And that was in the time when blacks and white supposedly were to hate each other because we were so different. Nobody knew better than I at that time. My dad probably was the biggest bigot that probably in Grand Rapids. Sorry, Father. Which made me look at this team that I'm playing on and seeing these black people and finding out after living with them, traveling with them, flying on the airplanes with them, taking the bus with them, they were a heck of a lot better than a lot of those, some of those redneck white guys. I learned a tremendous, tremendous amount because of those guys in that football team. It just couldn't be better for that particular thing. Now, when I talk about this with the blacks and white, one of the biggest things that it would have been, what, second year, honey? Second year Wayne State? Or my first year? First year Wayne State. I don't know if you know anything about this. Let me know, please. We took the bus, our bus, of course, went to Wayne State. Got out of the bus, the first thing everybody has to do is what? Go to the bathroom. So while everybody's running around trying to find that bathroom, because, you know, Leach, he's got to get there, you know, can't stop someplace, you know. He said, go take a walk. Okay. That sounds me, you know, sitting on that bus. And I walked up to the stadium at Wayne State University, where we were going to play that next day, and I looked, and to this day, I still cannot fathom that we were as stupid as we were stupid when it came to that black-white situation. In and over the stadium, it's high enough that you can see for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of yards. And as far as I could see, all the way around about to there to there, because that's where the highway was, every single house on those, and you know how closely they are in the big city, every single house was burned to the ground. That's where we were going to play football. So they had warned us, you know, to be careful that we didn't have a mix. Don't be stupid. You know, don't go, let's go take a walk. As far as you could see, all you saw was some cement block basements. That was it. That was it. I was stunned, absolutely stunned. Up here at Big Rapids, we were being pretty well protected from the situation. Don't know what else to call it, right? The situation. I would, however, because of the history situation, I would let you know that, which is still impossible for me to believe, but at Ferris, I was in Merrill Hall on first floor. And I see people shaking it. You guys know Merrill? Okay. And during that year, while we're trying to play football, the blacks and the whites, which I could never understand, they were trying to just literally have as much upheaval as they could possibly make. They burned the majority of the main office. You know, the big, beautiful, big office there where you come in, you drive in, you can drive right into it if you don't turn. They burned that thing halfway to the ground. I saw my most favorite car. It was right out my dorm window. And just a beautiful thing, yellow, had big cheater slicks on the back of it. I was just panting, you know. Oh, I wanted that so bad. I happened to be standing in my dorm room one night, and I looked out there, and there was fires, as there were so many nights. But they went over to that Dodge Dart Swinger, kind of a pukey yellow, I think, and turned it over, smashed it, turned it over, and burned it. And those kinds of things have set with me, from our stupidity, have set with me to think of, well, what happened with the football team? Can you imagine? The football team, for heaven's sakes, you know, there's black and white on the football team. Vietnam vets, thank you. Yeah, Vietnam vets. And I thought I was on my way, but ha ha ha. To watch night after night after night after night up on the rock, the blacks and the whites would do nothing but go back and forth and around the campus and just rampage. They broke every stinking window that could be broken in this college, I think. Let alone the burning. They burned everything that they could possibly burn. And again, because of football, one night, you know, I'm still thinking, this is nuts. But I mean, somebody's not gonna hurt me. I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, how can you believe that? So I'm thinking here, somebody's not gonna hurt me. It's not gonna happen. So, well, yeah, it can happen. Because I still, to this day, just shudder, absolutely shudder, to think of the horrible things that our people did on this campus. Rudy, Big Rudy, my tight end, I had to go, you know, on campus, you know, to get something and everything. And here comes Rudy, and Rudy says to me, he goes, Beam. He said, get the hell out of here. And I go, well, what do you mean, Rude? You know, he says, just get the hell out of here. Get back to your dorm. This is not good. I said, what can be good? I mean, what do I, come on, they're going to riot and stuff? I'm thinking to myself, come on, it ain't going to happen, right? He said, Beam, get to your room, man. So I thought, well, okay. And sure enough, they started on Merrill Hall, down, what is it, Paquel? Over. Tried to burn anything and everything that they could get their hands on. And so anyway, a huge part of Ferris State College, sadly enough, and that's why you may see my emotions and you may know now that it wasn't a treat for anybody with that stupid integration thing. Still to this day upsets me, the stupidity of that. I'm not going to like the black, I'm not going to like the white, I'm not going to like this, the stupidest thing I'd ever seen. So that you know that, because it's such a huge piece of history. And I didn't want you to, go like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. It was that, no. I think we've come back very well. We're getting smarter. Thank you, Lord. But oh, I put down here the two co-captains. Can you imagine? The two co-captains, Ron Harkey, Jack Spencer. To me, again, because of my age, to me, they were 46. They were 46 years old. And of course, they really weren't. But at my age, yeah, the co-captains, full beard. I so wanted to just get some little fuzzy things and stuff, That, wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, you lock that chin strap on there, you knock somebody down, you walk over to it, unsnap it, and those little two curly hairs go. Yeah, sheesh, you're right. Let's see, what's left? About who?
You want to talk about your freshman year, while you were, I don't mean losers, but you were, and why you came back your sophomore year and were such winners.
We lost every stinking game. I mean, I came from Wyoming Rogers, and I'm telling you, we kicked everybody's ass, or we kicked a lot of butts. That, I mean, it was just automatic. And Ferris had, of course, not won a game, hardly. And Sam Ketchman, dearly love him, the guy that was coaching at that time. And so needless to say, football at Ferris was just, who cares? Why would you want to watch it, right? I mean, they were always 0-9 or 0-8, that kind of stuff. And this bunch of guys, who knows why, got together with a coach, Bob Leach, whom at first was very, we called him Baptist Bob. I wasn't exactly a Baptist preacher at that time myself. I kind of like to have a little fun every now and then, and Mary Beth knows that every now and then she has to slap me. No, at your age. So guess what? It was something else to watch us all grow through those 4 years. Well, we did it, and to have that undefeated season, and now to be able to say it's the only undefeated season that Ferris has ever had. And now, while I was driving a Model A, that's when we started playing football here. That's a lie. I wasn't that old. I had a 57 Chevy. It was a badass Chevy. 4 on the floor. Whoo, baby. Tinted green windows. I was a bad man. However, I was madly in love. So needless to say, after and through this whole thing of trying to play football and everything else, having kids and getting through that, and now to have her, I don't know why she stays with me, but gone through all of that, the memories of that, what that did for me to go to Big Rapids is monumental. The administration accepted me as a teacher almost, you know, because you were on an organized team that was an undefeated team. You put all those things together, and they say, well, he was the quarterback, so I guess he can't be an idiot completely, right? And so that really is one of the biggest things that came out of this whole thing. And then 31 years later, I can still smile and say that those kids, you guys, are absolutely the reason that I would do and did do what I did because of those kids. And I am thrilled to be here right now to see you guys here now. Just thrilled to death. Last but not least, yeah, let me strut a little bit, you know. When you get old, you know, you gotta look back, right? So yeah, one of the biggest highlights would definitely have been the talking with two teams specifically. One was the Cowboys, and one was Minnesota Vikings. And I always loved the Minnesota Vikings, and I did like the Cowboys, except I at that time thought I can't possibly be good enough to you know, come on, be a quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But we talked and we talked and we went back and forth, and it was a very nice experience. However, love takes over at those young years, doesn't it? And I thought, gosh, if I go and play football with like Dallas or Minnesota, I'm going to have to go over there and leave Big Rapids now. And can you imagine that? But I am a family person. Always have been, and hopefully always will be. So the situations, what would I have given up? Probably not sleeping at night because of all of my broken fingers. I've broken all my fingers by some twice, some 3 times. All of my toes have been broken to the point where there's nothing you can do with them. You know, they're, you know, and they're kind of out there, and you shove them in a shoe, and then when you get done walking, you're going, oh. But that was again, and that was from a lot of it because of the doggone linemen. My own linemen. When they're that big and they don't stand up and stay up, all they have to do is take 1 step back and crunch. There they go again. So most of the time, every year, I played with that misery. My dad was really good. My dad was really good because he wanted me to play professional football, see, so the better I was, the better chance I had, right? So he would go to the doctor and say, Nick, we need some pills. And Dad would come back with these pills, and he'd say, he says, you need to take 2 of these, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And it happened so often, you know, they were all my toes, like I said, my fingers and everything. You imagine Not, you break your fingers. Many times, you know, they come up like this, and then they go like that. And then they go, and then that's when it hurts the most for the next week or so at least. But all I had to do was take pills. That's a good thing, isn't it? Have your dad, you know, say, let's take a couple of these, kid. Shut up. You know, you gotta look at down the line there. You gotta be good. What did it do for me? Thrilled to say. You know, it almost did everything for me. Everything about it. Ferris did almost everything with their football program for me. I wanted to teach. I got to teach. I wanted to do so many different things, you know, to be wise enough with my kids to be able to do things and I got my education. The cohesiveness of the players. To this day, if you want to see something funny, you want to see the '68 reunion of the only undefeated season that Ferris has ever had. You want to see the guys get together and act like they're 16 and 17 again. It'll kill you. Absolutely kill you. It's fun to watch. Mary Beth's a lot younger than I am, and so I know that she goes to those parties that we have, you know, reunions, and we love to see each other, and she just kind of sits back and kind of shakes her head. You know, she just goes, oh, you know, you're acting like you're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old again, just having a ball. But she's always good about it, always very good about it. Friendships that I'll never lose. I can go any place almost in the United States, and with football, the people that I've met, I can see people if I want to in all different kinds of states, all over. That's been wonderful. And ironically, I couldn't even wait. I put on here the most important person, of course, you know, which I've already touched on. I put on here, number 13 right here for me is Mary Beth. I think she fell for me because I was such a stud. And that I was...
I like a man in uniform.
And I really don't know exactly why she did fall me, but she is. I wish to any one of you that if you ever are married, that you could be like her and I praise God every single day for her. And for you guys. Thank you so much for letting me do this. I hope you got a little bit of here and a little bit there. And it was a little bit different, I hope. If anything, you have any questions or anything like that, I know the boss man will have what's coming up next. Which I don't have to worry about. That's why I said the boss man. Yeah, the boss man's going to talk next. I give her a lot of credit. You know, with me teaching all these years, she has always taught handicapped kids. She loves those handicapped kids. And she has done that forever, literally. And so now she has to get up here, and I know how difficult it is for her to do this.
Ask your question so we can get this. These kids got to get out of here.
Well, yeah, I mean, you...
Ask if there's any questions and go for it, then I'll come out.
Okay, all right. Any specific things? Question-wise, anything at all? I hope I kind of covered it. It gave you, you know, the fun part.
So to clarify, when the season had 0 wins, that was 67?
68, actually.
No, 67 was the year.
Oh, undefeated year. I thought you said, I'm sorry.
68 is undefeated.
67.
Well, you're going to find out why I went like this and went. You're going to find out from Mary Beth in just a moment. So I apologize, but yeah, that was 67, 68.
Thank you.
You bet.
I think the reason you guys didn't win a game your freshman year was because of the racism on campus?
I think the racism, which still to me is it's so difficult for me to even believe it. I mean, to see what I saw, to see the burning and destruction, it's too vivid. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I do know that there were a lot of kids hurt, mentally and physically.
Didn't you say you weren't cohesive? Because you didn't have captains that were cohesive.
Well, yeah, our captains that year, you're right. Yeah, our captains that year were different captains. Captains really are important. They are. And those captains were kind of, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, those are good questions.
So what changed then from that year then to the undefeated season? The captains were the big change?
Well, Bob Leach, if Bob were sitting right here right now, I would say to Bob Leach, because I've already said it, that I hate your guts.
Please explain.
Yeah.
Please explain.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have had talks, and I did. I said, I hate your guts. And he felt the same way about me. We're both strong-headed, and I had as much to do with running that team as he did. Now, the only reason I can say that is because I coached for so many years that I know what he went through with me, and I understand. And right now, again, is another very good thing, a very, very nice thing, is that Bob and his wife and his kids all had me in school. And Bob would be the first one to say to anybody that he was horrified because of the relationship that he and I had. He was horrified that I'd take it out on his kids. For real. As a professional, as a teacher, and loving kids, he would. I don't blame him. I hated his guts.
Would you please explain why
Oh,
you hated his guts? Please explain to them.
He, as I find out, as I become a coach for so many years, he soaked every single thing that he had in his mind, soul, and body into those football teams. And there were some things, again, that she was just like, she goes, oh, thanks, that I didn't agree with. And so up until then, right now, best of friends. We both understood, we both grew up. He was going to, with me, and I was pretty much saying, he ain't going to step all over me. I'm the quarterback. Yeah, put somebody else in there. Go ahead. I guess you got to be cocky, don't you, to be, kind of. Can't be a, but yeah. So we did not do well. Right now, very, very best of friends. His boys, going through high school, we were like that. Loved him dearly. Loved him dearly. But we never talked about his dad. Or their dad. What else? Anything?
Do you think in retrospect, and following up on the previous question, that in that time of strife and dissonance on the campus, that the winning season and championship was one of the first steps towards the healing process?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. You're right on tune.
Al, I was here when you were here. 69 was the worst year.
Yep.
For the racial civil. I had my car
Yep.
over, set on fire. Rock parking lot.
How many?
He came from Flint.
Yep.
Yes.
Played with black. And,
Yes, he
had
did.
a different relationship with black.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yep. And it was, again, it was almost like, see if I'm wrong, it was almost like he was against us white boys where the black guys got anything they wanted. You imagine at that age, you're seeing this stuff and da-da-da-da. So at that age, you're going, how come they get to do, well, you know, we can't do, you know, gee, if we did that, we'd get reprimanded. You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was very tough. It had to be. That's why I love Bob Leach right now, is because some of the things that I said and did, he could very well right now, he could hate my guts. There's no doubt about that. But I loved his kids. I didn't do anything to his kids, right? And so he saw that, obviously, and the boys knew that. And so it became, again, thank you, Lord, one cohesive, wonderful happening. A small little miracle. Dr. Coles?
For those of you who don't know, I worked, I know Al well. I worked with him at Big Rapids High School before I came to Ferris State. And one of Al's best attributes, he alluded to, he said how caring he is and how caring he is for kids. He was that caring way for the rest of the staff as well. And I was a young teacher while he was there. And Al, could you do us a favor and tell us how you connect so well with people and how you care for people? It's easy to say, but how do you do it? Because you do it so well.
Thank you.
You did it as a captain, I'm assuming, too, and people saw that. So just teach us how to care for people and how to connect with people.
For the kids, it's very simple for me to answer that. For the kids, for you guys, you're going to know, if I'm your teacher, you're going to know that I care for you. You have teachers that you really like, right? And have really liked and maybe now still like. And you have teachers that you're not thrilled, are you? You can shake your heads. It's okay. You're not thrilled. I believe that those teachers put special time in with you. You see what they do. If the teacher doesn't, if the teacher, doesn't what? Doesn't respect you, we're going no place there. I simply, with all of those years and how many thousands of kids, I simply, anytime that I could help, I helped them. Whether it be in the academic aspect of it, my classes, or how important outside. So many of the kids, as you know, have so many problems, especially now, right, in family. There's always something, somehow, some way. Used to be, the old man, would stand up at home before school started, and what would he say? Maybe something like, remember, I've told you before, you go to school, if you come home because they're keeping you out of school because you did something that you did do, he would always make sure before, he would say, and if you did do something that was really wrong, you got it coming. But on the other hand, parents need to also realize that, yep, there's some people out there that can want to make you miserable just because I just don't like what your eyes are doing. She's going like,
Poor thing. You're in a bad spot.
you know what I mean by that? I think by just being who I was, Tell them we're almost done.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought I had that on.
And I do. I think that the kids know. You guys know. I mean, am I dead wrong? I mean, and you know if teachers care for you, and you know if teachers don't care for you. And they friggin' knew doggone well that I'd do anything for them. I wouldn't necessarily have, not to cover up stuff or anything, you know, you're going to have to bite the bullet. But yeah, that's why. Yeah.
My name is Mary Beth St. Onge-Beamer. I am married to Alan. Been married many, many years. I'm basically here to talk with you. I guess the presentation title is Living and Dying to Play, the Joys and Tragedies of a Lifelong Sports Career. So I'm basically here to talk to you a little bit more about the tragedy. And it's not something that Alan really understands. It's more of, I've been following him to the doctor, so it's more of what I understand. And it doesn't in any way reflect a manner of don't play sports, don't do anything like that. I want people to understand. If there's things that you really love, that you're really going to put your all in, that you're going to train all the time, and there's been changes made with the sports, it's great. Sports is great, but sports does have some issues for us. My favorite used to be football. I will tell you, I would be remiss if I didn't say to you that when I watch a football game now, it does not have the love. I do not have the love that I used to have, because what do I see is all the hits. It's not that, oh my God, take them down, get down there, get the, you know, it's not that anymore. There is a little bit more to me, a little bit more of me thinking, oh my God, that's somebody's son, and where are they going to be down the road? Or that's somebody's daughter out on the court. As we all know, that basketball game last week that was just dreadful. Alan has been diagnosed. We've only known for about 7 months now, so we're still dealing with it. So I can say right now, I see more, there's a little bit more anger with me, but because of what happened with TBI. And if you understand anything about a TBI, and they show it a lot with NFL and that, you can't technically diagnose a TBI until Alan has passed and they have his brain. Many of the places have asked us to work with them for research, for down the road, for NFL, for football players, any sport, to talk about concussions and what has happened, okay? Alan had many concussions. He was a quarterback. He was sacked many times. The helmets then did not have the protection that they have now, and so he took many hits, you know, and you don't think anything about it. We've been together, like I said, many years, and there have been things that have been, I've noticed, but within the last 7 months, I have seen the deterioration, and it has been diagnosed TBI. There's only one other thing that would be a stroke, and that would have to be a stroke in the exact same spot in the hemisphere. But what it does for Alan and what it does for us is Alan will say to you, I do not see that. If there's ketchup in the refrigerator, it could take him 4 days to find it. It can be in the exact same spot. His vision is perfect. First they sent us to an ophthalmologist, and the ophthalmologist said, he's blind. I freaked. I mean, how can he be blind? He's not blind. We were then sent to a neuro-ophthalmologist who did the testing and did more testing because it was a larger area than in Big Rapids, and said his vision's 20/20. There's not a problem with his vision. So we went on from there, and he said, I need to send you to a neuropsychologist. So we've been to a neuropsychologist. They tested him for about 9 hours and came back with the conclusion that Alan is TBI, traumatic brain injury from football. But it is not visual, but it manifests itself in visual. So if you ask him to do something or see something spatially, to grab a cup off from the table, it's there, but he sees it somewhere else. So we've been dealing with that, and like I said, that has caused me a little bit of a dislike for sports, but yet I'm a lover of sports, you know. And Alan, I've talked with Alan, and I've said to him when we knew we were coming here, I said, if student asked you if you had to do it all over again, if you know what you know now, would you do it? Now, if you would have asked, yesterday was a bad day, he probably would have said no. But there are days when he says, you know, hey, it made me who I am, and that's the way it is. Life will hand you what life will hand you. So technically, I guess what I would say about the living and the dying for us is that Alan played sports. He became who he is, and that's who I fell in love with and married. And all of that coming together made him the special person that he is when it comes to being a father, when it comes to being a husband. So if you had to say that, I personally would say I wouldn't want to trade it either. On the other hand, with the TBI, you know, I guess if you like to say, as a friend of mine said, if you like to travel and you travel to Europe, you know, if you give up the things that you love, what do you have? So it makes life a little shorter. You know, there's maybe a few less memories. But to remember when you are going to do athletics or anything, that if you're going to do it, you need to do it with your heart and your soul, and you need to give it your all. You need to train. You need to remember the cohesiveness of working with the others on the team. And you need to treasure all those memories, because down the road, you don't know what's going to happen. You just got to live life to its fullest. So I guess, I mean, Alan was going to speak, and I have to tell you, I was a nervous wreck coming here today, because I don't talk well in front of people. But when you see him read in that, it is a visual problem. So I was concerned about that, so I'm here with him because I didn't know if everybody would understand, and I wanted you to know. As far as intelligence, he is one of the most intelligent men I've ever met. I compare him, intelligence-wise, heart-wise, to only one other person, one other man, and that would be my dad. And my dad is the best. So you know Alan is the best. But I wanted you to understand a little bit more about sports and about where you can go. If you can't play, there's another direction to go. If you have a love for sport, you can't play anymore, you can coach. You can go into the world of speaking. You can take and you can be a reporter. You can do any of that stuff. If you have a love for something, hold it tight, hold it dear, and do it. Don't look down the road. Look at what you have right now and treasure it. Even as you are right now, whatever age you are, treasure what you have, because you never know when life can change.